the department can continue on with this really important work.
Such as improving the military's capabilities. When it comes to keeping the peace, State Department spokesman Matthew Miller echoed President Biden's charge for the next 2.5 months.
Let's make every day count. That's the responsibility we have to the American people.
Florida GOP Senator Marco Rubio and ex-presidential candidate Robert Kennedy Jr. are names mentioned as possible secretaries. Gernal Scott, Fox News.
California Governor Gavin Newsom said Thursday he is calling an emergency special session to bolster the blue state's legal response to any future attacks from the incoming Trump administration. Fox News contributor Leo Terrell says Newsom is trying to remain relevant, but he's not.
You have Governor Newsom, who is a lame duck governor, trying to become relevant. It's a lame duck idea. They're going to have a legislative session in December to stop President Trump. Trump doesn't take office until January. And here's the point that's amazing. They can't stop Trump from removing illegal immigrants out of California. They cannot stop ICE from arresting illegal immigrants who have committed crimes. They can't do any of that. They're just talking. They're trying to remain relevant.
A lot of liberals are having a really hard time accepting the reality that the American people elected Donald Trump. Some Harvard professors are even canceling classes so students can process Trump's win. Gary Baumgarten reports.
The presidential election was apparently too much for some Harvard students to handle, so some of their professors accommodated them by canceling classes or making attendance optional. Several also extended deadlines for assignments. One professor even made a scheduled exam optional, writing to students, "Feel free to take time off if needed." Gary Baumgarten, Fox News.
Republicans continue to run a victory lap after Tuesday's election. Chris Woodward has more.
Talking about this on Washington Watch, House Majority Leader Steve Scalise said we've got a very unique opportunity with a unified government.
Doesn't happen often where Republicans have the White House, and Senate.
Scalise said they're going to make the most of it by fighting for families who are struggling.
We ran on a very strong agenda of getting our economy back on track, Tony, of securing America's border, standing up for our allies around the world, getting rid of these crazy regulations, promoting more American energy. We're going to be focused on doing those things in the first 100 days.
Tax policy will also be examined. Many provisions included in the Trump-era Tax Cuts and Jobs Act are set to expire at the end of next year. Democrats may shy away from the issue. That's because liberals did not support the Tax Cuts and Jobs Act when the House passed it and Trump signed it in 2017.
The Democrat Party just doesn't believe in giving you more of your money back. We do as Republicans, and we will, even if we have to go it on our own. But it's going to be good for the economy. And so we're going to be working with a small majority, but we're still going to be a focused majority, working with President Trump to deliver some big wins for those hardworking families who are struggling.
I'm Chris Woodward.
On Thursday, the S&P 500 climbed 0.7%. The Dow Jones Industrial Average was unchanged, and the Nasdaq Composite gained 1.5%. More news online at afn.net and download the AFN mobile app. I'm Rusty P.
Hi, it's Sandy Rios, your old friend from the morning show. So many crucial and frightening events are unfolding before our eyes. I'd like to invite you to come over to the podcast, Sandy Rios 24/7, so that we can work our way through these difficult times together. AFR.net, any podcast platform, or at sandyrios.com. And one more thing, my book, God's Velvet Hammer, is now available on Audible. So come join us at Sandy Rios 24/7, and remember, God's Velvet Hammer, available at Audible.
This is Trivia Friday. The number to call with your question or your answer to a question is 888-589-8840.
I'm saying that Abe Lincoln could dunk James Madison.
Okay, that's what you're telling me.
Tell everybody in America, what's the name of that song?
It's a Hokey Pokey.
You're exactly right.
The Hokey Pokey.
From Flatwoods, Kentucky. Garbanzo beans. Hey, good morning, everybody, and welcome to Trivia Friday on American Family Radio. Thanks for listening. I'm Tim Wildman with Ed Vitagliano. Good morning, Ed.
Good morning, Tim.
And Bert Harper. Good morning, Bert.
Good morning, Tim.
JJ's on the road again?
Yes, he was in Scottsboro, Alabama last night. Now, I don't know how it went, but I heard he was looking forward to it, so hope it all went well.
Usually texts me and tells me how it went so we could let our listeners know.
Well, I know a secret. He was going to go fishing this morning, so he may have not had time. There's a lake over there at Scottsboro, close to Gunnersville Lake, and it's one of the best bass fishing lakes in America, I've heard.
Huh.
Yeah.
Well, that's probably where he is.
I said that's where he said he was going.
All right, Trivia Friday deals on American Family Radio. What are we doing here this hour and a half, Ed?
We are learning our students. I mean, this is an educational enterprise. Folks, don't let the laughter and the joy we bring to your lives.
Joy.
Okay?
Joy.
Joy. I'm calling it joy. Don't let that fool you. This is Learning University. We are going to be asking you, our students, 3 questions each, and it's a challenge. We're laying down a challenge. We're encouraging you to take a shot at answering these questions. The number to call and ask us a question of your own. The number to call is 888-589-8840. We do ask you if you've been on the air with us in the last 2 months. You wait a week, let somebody else have a shot. We have a lot of callers who try to get in. 888-589-8840. That's the number to call in to ask, answer, or do both. And Bert, one of those questions, one of those 9, the original 9, will be a mystery question. What does that mean?
Sound? What? Okay, it means that if you answer that one, you win a cap.
Yes.
Now that's amazing. An AFR cap, and listen, it wears well. I've heard.
Yes.
You know,
and
it looks really good.
How would someone know if they answered the question
They
correctly?
will hear this glorious sound from a graduate of Mississippi State. It's called the cowbell. Now, that's an Ole Miss fan ringing that bell. I think that's appropriate.
Anyway, yeah, that would mean that you answered the mystery question correctly. You won't know, our listeners, which of the 9 questions, the original questions, is the mystery question. But if you answer it correctly, that's what you hear.
Adam Sudduth is running the control board for us today. He's an Ole Miss fan, and that's what Bert was talking about. All right, so let's get busy with our questions, Ed.
Absolutely. Well, here are my 3 questions. Most of us have heard of Batman, okay? So there were 4 Batman movies released starting in 1989. Michael Keaton was the actor who played Batman in the first 2 movies. What actors starred as Batman in the 2 following films? They're well-known actors. What actors starred as Batman in the 2 following films? Second question, what famous South American lake is the world's highest lake navigable to large vessels? It's 12,500 feet above sea level. What's the name of this famous lake? And third, in the list of armor for spiritual warfare in Ephesians 6, which piece of armor is said to quench the fiery darts of Satan? Which piece of spiritual armor is said to quench the fiery darts of Satan? That's what I've got.
Okay, I have 3 questions as well, a Bible question. And Gideon defeated the Midianites with how many men? Gideon defeated the Midianites with how many men? Now, if you grew up in my time zone of my sons, you could sing a song and you'd know that answer. But anyway,
and it wasn't necessarily all that hard because they were Midianites.
They were Midianites.
They were little.
They were
little people.
Okay, second question. What is the only planet that spins clockwise? What is the only planet that spins clockwise? The Andy Griffith Show, like I said, guys, I do that because the one time I didn't do, I got all kinds of complaints. So I'm going back to the Andy Griffith Show question. What do Andy and Barney call Aunt Bee's homemade pickles? What do Andy and Barney call Aunt Bee's homemade pickles?
That's a great question.
Well,
I know the answer to that.
Yeah, the reason I pick it, you try to find the 10, best liked and get your questions from that. And it's
that's a good idea.
Yeah, it's not too obscure. If you make it too obscure, nobody knows. But you can do it this way, and I hope somebody will answer it. We'll
Somebody
see.
will.
All right, here are my 3 questions. Number 1, what is the only land animal that doesn't sleep? And this is a common animal, okay? What is the only land animal that doesn't sleep?
Well, the older I get, I would put my name in there. Ed.
All right,
land
so you're a
animal.
land animal?
I'm a land animal.
Okay. Number 2, what do bees collect and use to create honey? What do bees collect and use to create honey? And finally, from the Bible, I was reading this yesterday.
The Bible? That's good. That's awesome.
It's an ancient manuscript.
Yeah. yeah. I was reading.
Sorry,
the
I
Bible
haven't slept much.
Well, okay. I'm just making sure you knew about that.
All right. So from the Bible, who did Jesus say this to? Truly, truly, I say to you, unless one is born again, he cannot see the kingdom of God. To whom was Jesus speaking when he said that?
By the way, I do that all the time. When I'm reading in the Bible, I'll think that'd make a good trivia question.
Yeah.
Your mind just starts to think about
Yeah.
those kind of
Well,
things.
I just want to make a statement. You guys that are on here week after week, y'all do great. I'm on every so often,
Yeah.
and I search hard, but you guys, y'all do it all the time. So that's got to be on your mind just about all week. Oh, that one would work.
I do that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I can see why now.
All right, Brother Bert, you're our guest professor. Let's go to the phones.
Okay, to Texas we go, and it's John. John, thank you for calling.
Hey, guys. It's good to be on the show again. This is John, who used to be from Cut and Shoot.
Hey, John.
Yeah, John.
Welcome back.
You moved, right?
Yes. Yeah, I moved to Tyler, Texas.
Well,
So did you move because it's just much simpler to tell people you're from Tyler than Cut and Shoot?
Well, being from Cut and Shoot was kind of unique, wasn't it?
yeah,
It
you
sure
remember
was.
that.
Yeah.
What's the population of Cut and Shoot? How many people can say they're from Cut and Shoot, Texas?
Oh, well, nowadays, Montgomery County that Cut and Shoot's in there with Conroe, JJ's been there before, but that county now has about 700 and something thousand people in
Oh,
it.
wow. Okay.
Cut.
Yeah.
Salute.
Former Californians that's moved away into Texas, I guess.
All right, let's go.
Well, you want to ask,
All
answer,
right.
or do both, John?
I'm going to try to answer a question about the lake.
All right, here's the question, John. What famous South American lake is the world's highest lake navigable to large vessels?
Is that Lake Titicaca or something? Is that close enough?
Yeah, Lake Titicaca. So I
All
will
right.
give
Way
you
to
that
go,
one. That's
John.
close enough.
How'd you know that?
Wow.
Oh, good. I love geography. So, and so that's just one of the things that comes up, that I learned a long time ago.
Where is that?
So-
Where is that in South America?
That is on the border of Peru and Bolivia. I did look that part up in case somebody asked. So, had you guys heard of that before? That lake?
No,
I had not.
Oh,
I
really?
had not.
Okay.
And you talking to two guys that love geography as
Yeah.
well.
Okay.
But I had not heard that. Good,
All right.
good research. Good question.
All right, John, you don't have a question for us?
Yes, I do.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay, all right. Coming up here in the next couple of months will be Christmas season, correct?
Well, I thought it was already there, guys. Go ahead.
Yeah, well,
Yeah, go ahead, John.
I'm an old timer.
Okay.
Anyway, where does the word mistletoe come from, and what is its meaning?
Mistletoe. Where does it come from? Where did it go?
And what
Where
does
did
it
come
mean?
from, Cotton Eye Joe?
And what is the meaning of life?
Where
does it come from? You know what?
If
That's
you were to
interesting.
divide that up, missing toe, but I think it. No, I don't think
Yeah,
it's that.
I
Yeah,
don't think you're
that's
on to
the-
anything. That's Bert. But anyway,
Hey, I just thinking out loud.
Mistletoe. I don't know. Mistletoe is it's the garnish or
I thought that was just the
what do you
name
call
of
it?
the
Not garnish. That's on a food plate.
Yeah, but it's the plant.
Yeah, that you hold up.
Yeah.
To somebody.
Yeah.
Well,
I gotta
I don't know. It's decorations for Christmas is all I know.
Yeah. Well, John, I think you stumped us.
Let us know, John.
Well, all right. Okay, I got it. I'm going to tell you where it comes from, and then I have a little explanation. It's from the Old English words, mistel, mistel, meaning poo, and tan, meaning twig or stick. So when a bird eats the mistletoe berries and the seed passes through their digestive tract, it's deposited on a twig or a branch. The seed ripens and are attached to the twig by what is called a haustronium, something like a root, and there it extracts moisture and nutrients from the living plant. Mistletoe is primarily a hemiparasitic plant. It takes,
I knew
and
that.
That means,
that part I
obtains
knew.
most of its nutrition from the hosts that are hardwoods.
Mm-hmm.
So
I
the
can't
next
figure out
time
why I
you're
didn't
under
know
the-
that. Simple.
Okay, guys. So the next time you're under the mistletoe and waiting for a kiss, be sure to let the person know that they are under a poo stick.
Yeah, that's disappointing. Honestly.
That is
Yeah.
a disappointing
All right, thank you,
explanation.
John. Appreciate you calling, man. Good to hear from you there, John. And,
I thought it was going to be something to do with, knights and in castles or something.
Yeah, that would make more sense. Hey, let's stay in Texas and go to Deborah. Deborah, thank you for calling.
Hello.
Yes, thank
Hi,
you.
Deborah.
Can you hear me? Okay.
We can.
I'm on a headset. Sometimes it doesn't work like it should. So.
Well, that's okay. We can hear you just fine.
Are you like flying an airplane or something? What are you doing?
It's like I wash dishes and listen to stuff.
Oh, I got you. So your hands are free.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Hands-free listening, like that.
That's
well, you
right.
want to ask, answer, or do both, Deborah?
Both.
All right.
I'd like to answer one of the Bible questions. I'm just trying to figure out which one I really want to do. I think I'll answer the one about Gideon and his army.
Okay, here it is. It's from the Old Testament, Book of Judges, by the way. Gideon defeated the Midianites with how many men?
I think God pared it down to 300.
All right.
Well done, Deborah.
300 Gideon.
Now, how many did he start with? Do you remember that?
No, I don't. It was quite a bit more than that, and I know if I were the leader of that particular army, I'd be scared to death to go against the Midianites with just 300 guys.
Yeah. Do you remember how?
30,000?
It was in the
Yeah,
thousands,
30,000.
was it not?
30,000. Do you remember the story about how they were eliminated? I'm just checking.
Yeah.
Okay,
There was
fearful
some-
they were to go
several-
home. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And the other one is
Fearful
lapping
were to
like
go
a...
home.
Yeah, what's the third one?
And then the last one was where they were. Was it where they were drinking from the river?
That's
Was that the
exactly
second?
right.
With their hands?
Yeah. They had to pick down and get their hands of water and bring it to their mouth so their eyes could be looking for the enemy. There's so much good teaching there,
Yeah,
man.
that'll preach.
It really will.
Whatever happened to the 300?
They beat up those other guys, and then they
beat the Persians.
Yeah.
At the gates of Thermopylae. No, I'm just kidding.
All 300 of them?
Yeah.
Medians, you're talking
Even a soldier or anything.
Yeah. Hey, great word, Deborah. Appreciate it, man.
Okay.
Thank you for
Do
calling.
does she have a question for us?
I do.
Go
Let's
ahead.
see if I can get this worded correctly. There are 3 states that the entire state lies south of the latitude of the southern border of California. Am I making sense? Do you understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Yes.
There's a latitude that marks the southern border of California, and there are 3 states that lie completely south of that.
2 of them are obvious, Florida and Hawaii.
Yes.
Texas, too.
Texas Panhandle, it goes up Mississippi, and them, I think,
I
are
was
lower
thinking
than
the southernmost.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
all of
You're
them.
talking. Repeat the question again.
Okay. The latitude line that comprises the southern state line of California, I won't tell you what it is, but there are 3 states whose entire state landmass lies south of that same latitude line.
I think I came up with a third one. It would be Louisiana, Hawaii, Florida.
You got it.
Louisiana.
Hey.
Okay. Wow.
How did you know Louisiana?
Very good.
Well, I knew Mississippi and Alabama and Georgia are all on the same, line, and the only one south of that that's completely is Louisiana. So, elimination is the third one.
Yeah.
Just looking at it.
Right. No, we don't want to eliminate
Florida and Hawaii.
No. Hey, we
don't
need to
wanna-
keep Louisiana.
Yeah, we need to keep
Louisiana.
keep
Yeah.
Louisiana. I didn't
Yeah.
want to eliminate it that way. Amen.
Well, thank you, Deborah. Great question. Very good. We like geography questions, and also thank you for reading your Bible, and we appreciate our listeners. Thank you, Deborah.
Hey, just longitude and latitude, again, remind me which is which.
I always remembered L is length-wise, in other words, goes from north to south length, and then lat, you lay down, and it
Okay.
goes from
That's
east
a
to
good
west.
way to remember it.
That's how I remember it.
Yeah.
I just have to. L and L.
So longitude is straight up and down on the globe, and latitude is circumference.
Yeah, I always thought of we all use these kinds of tricks, lat and flat. That's what I always just flat line.
You're a flat earther?
No, I'm not a flat earther.
Okay. All right.
Do you know the second most? I didn't know this. Nathan, my son, went out to Lubbock, Texas, and I can't remember the second most biggest flat area on the globe is there out in West Texas. Area
I wouldn't
without any
argue with
rise.
that.
I wouldn't either. That's the reason they got names like Plainview.
Yeah.
I wonder how they came up with that name.
All right, you're listening to Trivia Friday on American Family Radio, also known as
Learning University.
Learning University's in session.
Okay.
And we're going to go back to the phones, Ed.
Okay.
Or
I got
whoever's
it.
doing it.
Yeah. Arkansas, and it's Chris. Thank you, Chris, for calling.
Morning, gentlemen.
Good morning. Hey, do you want to answer, ask, or both, brother?
Both. The one about the Ephesians question.
All right, here you go, Chris. Here's the question. In the list of armor for spiritual warfare in Ephesians 6, which piece of armor is said to quench the fiery darts of Satan?
That'll be the shield of faith, sir.
The shield
Way to
of
go.
faith.
All right.
I always like that because it does not, the promise is not that the enemy will not shoot fiery darts at you, and the promise is not that they won't land, but that faith quenches the fire that could otherwise consume our faith and confidence in God. So
Yeah, we got a men's group at church that's called the Armor Bearers, and we gather every Sunday to pray before church. So,
Amen.
We're highly familiar with that. So,
well, hey, and appreciate. We always want, especially our men, to be involved in church and taking seriously the responsibilities that God puts on the men of the church. So,
matter of fact, this Sunday night I'm going to be preaching at Man Church.
Church?
Yeah, it's a large group, and you can follow up on it. And where men gather on a Sunday night, and it's men, kind of like Promise Keepers used to be, And I'll be preaching at Ellistown Baptist Church here in Northeast Mississippi. I'm looking forward to preaching at Man Church.
All right.
Amen.
All right, what's your question for us, Chris?
who did in that letter? Who did Paul say he was going to send to them?
I think it wasn't it Bill?
Well, Bill was already there. He'd already sent Bill.
I don't think it was Bill.
Down in South Texas, there's this town called Dry Creek, and they have an encampment there, and they have 4 cabins, and they're named after Matthew, Mark, Luke, and Bob. And they said, I said, where do most people ask for? I said, if they can't get Bob, they don't want to come. And but anyway, hey, usually it was Timothy, but I'm not sure that was it in this case, because he was going to send him to Philippi. And so
I don't know.
I can't remember for sure.
Tim, you got a guess?
No, I don't.
You already guessed Bill, and that wasn't right. So, all right, what's the answer, Chris?
It's Tychicus or something like that.
Oh, Tychicus?
I'm not. That's how you want to pronounce it.
I'm just making it up.
Ty. Hey, Ty.
Ty.
Yeah, it was Ty. Like Bill, you know,
Yeah.
Ty and Bill.
All right. Hey, Chris, thank you, brother, and thank you for praying at your church and taking your stand along with the other men of the church there. God bless you guys.
Iron sharpens iron, and that's
Amen.
what men do around each other.
Yep.
All right, Trivia Friday deals on American Family Radio. I tell you what we're going to do. We're going to repeat our questions, take our break a little early, Adam. So be prepared. Okay. We'll repeat our questions when we get back from the break. How about that?
He's from Ole Miss. I mean, you know, it goes that way.
Oh, man.
That's pretty good this year.
Yeah, it is. Hey, I'll take that back.
Ole Miss and Georgia play a big game tomorrow.
I want to watch that one.
In Oxford, and I think Alabama and LSU play tomorrow too. So big day in the SEC. We'll be back momentarily with more of Trivia Friday on American Family Radio.
It's my turn.
Here is your host for My Turn, Don Wildman.
One of the mistakes we make when we think of God is that we think of Him only in religious terms. We divorce God from the physical and material areas of life. Anyone who is willing to make a serious study will find God to be just as concerned with our physical and material needs as our spiritual needs. He's interested in the whole person. One of the 10 Commandments requires 1 day in 7 as a day of rest. This is not only for religious purposes, but also for physical and health purposes. Physically, the body must have rest in order to function properly. Pity the poor person who never learns this. One of the secrets of Jesus' strength was that occasionally he managed to get away, to be alone. Each of us needs to get away sometimes, whether it be to the woods behind our house or to the country across the ocean. Remember that the carpenter once said, "Let's get away from the crowd for a while and rest." The modern-day pace of living is entirely too fast for us to try to keep pace with it all. We must learn to live in a fast-moving world without killing ourselves trying to keep up with it. We can overextend ourselves. We must learn to make the proper choices and to say no to some things which beckon us. We can take on too much, become too involved in too many things. A mother once told me how much time she spent just taking her children to and from their activities. It was something like 3 hours a day. She was exhausting herself trying to keep up with everything and everyone. The secret to a healthy life is balance. We need to learn to work hard and rest easy. Remember that you can overdo anything, working and resting. Try to learn the proper balance and maintain that level. But let me say it once again. Occasionally we need to get away for a while. A person needs some time to rest, to think, to get his perspective straight in this fast-moving world. You know, I remember a meeting in which I was listening to another preacher, and he said rather boastfully on the subject of vacations that he had not had a vacation in 20 years. Well, another minister leaned over and whispered into my ear, "Yes, and the people who have to listen to him can tell it." A time apart can be anything which breaks the routine, a vacation, special trips, a refresher course in school, even a hobby. I like to go fishing when I can, which is not very often, even if I don't catch a thing. At least I can lean back and sleep while I wait for the fish to bite. It helps my soul catch up with my system. Everyone needs a hobby. Then when things get to be too much, the pace gets to moving too fast, you can turn to your hobby and rest your mind for a while. I found that my hobbies few as they are, have been a part of my physical and mental salvation. Divide the word recreation into two parts, and you get recreation. Recreation is a time to recreate, to renew. Why drive yourself to the breaking point, which is bad for you and a burden on others? Let's get away for a while and rest. Don't ignore this important part of life.
This has been My Turn with Don Wildman, a production of the American Family Association.
You will seek me and find me when you seek me with all of your heart. Jeremiah 29:13.
American Family Radio.
To the Batmobile. Let's go.
Atomic batteries to power. Turbines to speed.
Roger. Ready to move out.
All right, there we go.
Little Batman.
That's on the TV show.
The TV show.
And then came the movies, right?
Yes.
What
Well, there
happened
was
to
that-
Robin in the movies? Did they just drop Robin?
No, in fact, there was a Batman and Robin movie.
There was, okay.
Amongst the four that I have in my question, and it was awful. It was probably the worst Batman movie ever made.
All right, you're listening to Trivia Friday on American Family Radio, and I'm Tim with Ed and also Bert today filling in for JJ. Let's repeat our questions, fellas, that have
heretofore
gone unanswered.
All right, I'm going to have to add two. I've had two answered already. So, as I was mentioning, 4 Batman movies were released starting in 1989 with Michael Keaton, the actor, as Batman in the first 2. What actors starred as Batman in the 2 following films? I'll add a geography question. Of the Great Lakes, what is the only one that is entirely within U.S. territory? I couldn't remember. It seemed like maybe we've had that here not too long ago, but I can't
Last week, I think.
Was it last week?
Yeah, the week before. I'm serious.
Are you serious? Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I guess we'll find out what students were paying attention.
Yeah, that's right.
Of the Great Lakes, what is the only one that is entirely within U.S. territory? And then the third one, what was the nickname given to westerns filmed in Italy rather than Hollywood? What was the nickname given to westerns filmed in Italy rather than Hollywood? That's what I've got.
Okay, I had one answered. Here's one added to it, but here's the two and then the other one. What is the only planet that spins clockwise? What is the only planet that spins clockwise? The Andy Griffith Show. What do Andy and Barney call Aunt Bee's homemade pickles? And we've just had an election of our president, and he'll be going in January. And so in honor of that, this is this question. Which U.S. president went by the nickname Dutch? Which U.S. president went by the nickname Dutch?
All right, here are my questions. What do bees collect and use to create honey? What do bees collect and use to create honey? Second question. What is the only land animal that doesn't sleep? And these are very common almost everywhere in North America. Okay? Very common. What is the only land animal that doesn't sleep?
I don't know the answer to that. That's a good question.
And finally, from the Bible, who did Jesus say this to in the Bible? I'm quoting Jesus now. Truly, truly, I say to you, unless one is born again, he cannot see the kingdom of God. Jesus said that to somebody in the scripture. I want to know who it was.
Good.
All right, back to the phones.
Okay, let's go to Texas. Marvin, thank you for calling.
Yes, sir. Thank you, professors, for letting me call today.
Well, we're glad you did.
Welcome. Yeah.
Absolutely, Marvin. Appreciate you calling, brother.
Okay, do you want to answer, ask, or both?
I want to do both.
Okay, which one of the questions?
I want to answer the one about Jesus saying to Nicodemus, unless a man be born again.
Okay, so is that your final answer? right there?
Yes, sir.
Marvin, okay. You're correct.
Hey, way to go.
Yeah. So in John 3, verses, it starts John 3, verses 3 and 7. Jesus starts out by telling Nicodemus, as our Marvin just said, that is the person he was speaking to when he said, "Truly, truly, I say to you, unless one is born again, he cannot see the kingdom of God." So that's the. Go ahead.
I sure am glad I didn't get it wrong on public television and on public radio.
Hey, Marvin, let me ask, do you know Nicodemus's nickname?
No, I don't.
Nick
It wasn't Dutch.
Nick at Night.
Nick at Night. Oh, I like that.
Yeah. Okay. Hey, that's free. It doesn't cost anything. Okay.
And
we're glad.
You are sitting in JJ's chair.
Okay, corn.
So
that's right. It came through again. Okay.
All right, fire away, Marvin.
Did I hear a cowbell?
No,
I'm
sir.
sorry, man.
That wasn't
You
it.
did not. Maybe in your head you did. But it didn't
And
really.
if you did, you need to get that checked out. All right, what's your question for us, Marvin?
What country has the capital is the highest capital of any country in the world in elevation?
Okay, and elevate. Now you're talking about capitals in, around the world, or not just the U.S., right?
No, capitals around the world.
I want to take a stab at that one.
All right.
Ecuador.
Ecuador.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
I'm taking a stab at it. Ecuador.
All right, and I'm
going to.
We don't have to name the capital, do we?
Quito.
Well, it would be extra points.
Oh,
okay. Quito, Ecuador.
Oh, wow. You know.
Let me give my answer.
Okay.
Yeah, that's a good one, Bert. I see where you're going with that one. I'm going to say Nepal.
Oh, wow. Kathmandu.
Isn't that where Mount Everest is?
Yeah.
I think that's right. I think
I'm going to go with Nepal.
I'm going to go with Tim's with Nepal.
And if it is, I'll add the capital, Kathmandu, I think. I love that name. Isn't that a neat name?
That is.
Yeah.
We were going to name our son Kathmandu, but it just seemed like a girl's name for some reason. All right, what's
the answer, Marvin?
It's in South America, La Paz, Bolivia.
Oh, man.
Okay. La Paz,
Bolivia.
Okay.
How high is it?
10,000 plus.
Wow.
Well, I didn't realize that.
Air's thin up there, man.
I guess so.
Where is that in the Andes?
I'm not sure.
It
You
must be. That's
sure I didn't hear a cowbell?
No, you don't hear the cowbell when you ask us a question.
Or even when you stump us, you don't hear it. Yeah.
Hey, thank you, Mark. Go ahead, sir.
Okay.
I love you guys. Y'all keep up the good work.
Okay, thank you, Marvin.
Spread the word.
Okay.
Thank you, brother.
Appreciate it.
Appreciate that.
You're listening to Trivia Friday on American Family Radio. And we go back to the phone.
And
Bert?
it's to Kansas, and it's Scott. Scott, thank you for calling.
Good morning. How's everybody?
Doing well.
Good.
Do you want to answer or ask or both, Scott?
I'm going to do both.
Okay. Which question?
I'm from, my Nicodemus question was already answered, so let's go with the Western movies. How's that?
All right, here's the question, Scott. What was the nickname given to Westerns filmed in Italy rather than Hollywood?
Yes, and most of them starred Clint Eastwood, the spaghetti Western.
Spaghetti
Hey,
Westerns.
way to go.
That's right.
Was that a thing for a while?
Oh, yeah, all those,
That
like
was
The
a
Good, the
time.
Bad, and the Ugly, and those are all
Fistful of
called
Dollars.
spaghetti. Yeah, a few fistful
But
of dollars.
they were called spaghetti westerns because they were filmed in Italy.
They were filmed in Italy, and if you watch them, a lot of the actors, they had to dub English because they use Italian actors. But
Really?
yeah, that was Clint Eastwood played in those. Those three kind of made him famous.
Wait a
and
minute.
made Clint Eastwood
just,
famous.
Just a second. I'm just trying to. I haven't seen any of those. I don't think. Maybe but I forgot. So if you dub English, so you have Clint Eastwood speaking in English.
Yes.
And then you have other characters speaking in Italian, dubbed into
over with English.
Well, was that part of the script then? They're like Clint Eastwood travels to Italy for
it wasn't. It was just cheaper for them to make movies in Italy. And
I understand that, but I just don't understand using Italian actors for American Western movies who don't speak English. It seemed like you could pay for a few more people.
Well,
air travel, man.
Yeah,
you see what I'm saying?
Yeah, and then there'd be union wages and all that.
Yeah.
Well, Clint Eastwood was he had played in Rawhide, and this was kind of his big break to play in westerns. And The Good, Bad, the Ugly, Fistful of Dollars, and For a Few Dollars More were the three big movies that and that's later on.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Good.
No,
is that before Outlaw Josie Wales?
Yes, he was made famous by these spaghetti westerns.
Gotcha.
Okay.
Hey, good job on that one, Scott. With your question for us.
Yeah.
Did I hear a cowbell?
No. I mean, no. We can listen. We can play it for you, but
it doesn't mean anything.
We just finished the World Series, and I have a World Series kind of question. There was a team in 1981 that won more games than any other team in baseball, and they didn't even get to go to the playoffs. Can you name that team?
They didn't even get to go to the. I bet it was in the wrong division. Well, that doesn't make any.
They didn't go to the World Series.
No,
they didn't go to the playoffs or the World Series.
They didn't even go to the playoffs.
Hold on. Repeat. I missed it. Repeat the question, Scott.
In 1981, the team that won more games than any other team in baseball didn't even get to go to the playoffs.
How's that
I'll
possible?
explain it after I tell.
Okay.
All right. There was a strike sometime back then.
Oh,
that's right.
Huh?
Oh, wow. Good on you.
And
I
so
wasn't even thinking about
what
that.
happened, they suspended the season, I think, and then they came back and did the playoffs after they got their contract negotiations.
Was that the Royals and the Cardinals that year, or
81? 82, the Cardinals won the World Series in 82 against the Brewers.
Oh, okay.
So
I didn't even think about a strike.
81, I'm not sure who won it. Maybe the Yankees, I'm not sure.
Yeah, those of us thought it would ruin baseball.
But anyway,
it
it had to do with the strike, the labor strike. Go ahead, Scott.
Who is it?
Yes, the ones that won the World Series were the same ones that won it this year. But the Cincinnati Reds won more games than any other team in baseball, and they didn't get to go
because of the strike.
They came in first place on the first half, and the Astros came in second. They came in first place on the second half, and the Dodgers came in second. And the Dodgers wound up playing Houston for the playoffs. And the Dodgers beat Houston and then went on to win the World Series.
Even though the Reds won more games than anybody. Yeah.
Wow.
That was the tail end of the Big Red Machine.
Yeah.
That was a great team.
That Big Red Machine, in my opinion, of course everybody's got an opinion, of the Cincinnati Reds of the 70s was the greatest 1 through 8 lineup offensively and defensively in the history of baseball.
There was really no weakness. I mean, usually they just won right after another.
And my personal opinion is the '75 World Series with the Red Sox.
Yeah.
I'll just say top 5, even though the Red Sox lost in Game 7.
Yeah.
What an exciting World Series that was.
It was a 7-game series, but what's Louis Tiant? Carlton Fisk and
that 6th
Freddie
game
Lynn,
where he the home.
Carl Yastrzemski, I think.
Oh my goodness, yeah.
All right, so Scott, thank you, my friend. Appreciate it.
Okay.
All right,
that was a great question.
You're listening to Trivia Friday. Let's repeat our questions real quick, guys.
All right. I'm getting a lot of questions answered. I'm going to have to pull some hard ones in here so I can save some questions for next week. All right, there were 4 Batman movies released starting in 1989 with Michael Keaton as the actor playing Batman in the first 2. What actors starred as the superhero Batman in the 2 following films? 2 different actors. Second question, of the Great Lakes, which is the only one that is entirely within U.S. territory? And I'll add one. This is actually kind of easy.
Add a Great Lake?
What's that? I'm gonna add a Great Lake. What do you guys think I should name it?
A little highly of yourself there, yeah. Oh no, you mean add a question?
Yeah, I got to add a question.
I misunderstood you there.
And this is going to follow up here with the question we just had.
Okay.
It's a World Series question. In 1951, this is pretty easy for real baseball fans. In 1951, Bobby Thompson hit Major League Baseball's shot heard round the world to win the pennant for his team. Which team was it, and who was the opposing team?
Okay, great question. I even know that one. Okay, and I wasn't alive then either, but I do.
51.
Yeah, that's right. Here's my 3 questions. What is the only planet that spins clockwise? From the Andy Griffith Show, what do Andy and Barney call Aunt Bee's homemade pickles? And the third one, which U.S. president went by the nickname Dutch?
All right, I have 2 questions that haven't been answered. I'll add another one. Should one of these be answered? What do bees collect and use to create honey? What do bees collect and use to create honey? And secondly, a second question rather. What is the only land animal that doesn't sleep? And this is a common animal, so it's not something obscure.
I don't know the answer to this.
And I think it's native to all of North America, at least most of North America. So, all right. So I want to know, what is the only land animal that doesn't sleep? Okay.
Okay. Let's
ahead.
go to David in Pennsylvania. Thank you, David, for calling.
Good morning, professors and dean.
Hey, thank you, David. Appreciate it, my friend. Have you been on the air with us before?
Yes, I have.
Okay. Well, listen.
Pennsylvania. Anything been happening up in Pennsylvania lately?
Well, everyone's excited that the election was over and that Pennsylvania went over to Trump.
And the McCormick won their Senate seat too, right?
Yeah, defeating Bob Casey.
Yep. So now at least you get to be relieved of one television ad after another, after another, after another, after another.
We're all relieved.
Yep.
And emails, I know my email box is happy. It's like it's been a dumpster fire there for 6 months. All right, David, go ahead. Ask, answer, or both?
I'm going to do both.
Okay, which one do you want to answer?
About Batman, if it's all right.
All right, David, here's the question. 4 Batman movies were released starting in 1989 with Michael Keaton as Batman in the first 2. What actors starred as the superhero in the 2 following films?
Well, Val Kilmer was in Batman 3, and then George Clooney did Batman and Robin.
Yes, that is correct. Val Kilmer and George Clooney.
Which one? So you had Val Kilmer, George Clooney. You had Michael Keaton was one.
He was the one that did the first 2 of those Batman movies.
Okay.
And those out of those 4, those were the 2.
Well, you got,
the first one was the best with the Joker.
You got 2 lefties there. Is there? What's Val Kilmer? What's his political affiliation? Is he did he pass? He's still alive.
No, but I think he's
very
sick.
Yeah.
I think all of those maybe
Michael Keaton
lefties.
and George Clooney.
Yeah.
All right. So, David, ask your question of us, please.
Alrighty, I'm going to ask a Batman-related question. Can you name 3 actors who played Riddler, Penguin, and Two-Face in those movies?
Oh, in the movies.
In the movies?
Okay,
Yeah,
three actors to play.
No. The 3 actors who played Riddler, Two-Face, and Penguin.
Okay, so Penguin was Danny DeVito. The Riddler was Jim Carrey. And then Two-Face was, who's the guy that, what's his name, that played in the second Fugitive movie, the U.S. Marshals. I forget the
Snoop Dogg.
Snoop Dogg.
No, anybody else got a better answer?
No, it's the actor that played. I can't remember his name. He played the main marshal in U.S. Marshals.
Oh, well, hold on, Doug. Don't say that. Don't say that. That's Tommy Lee Jones.
Yes, that's it.
Yeah.
All right.
Yep, Tommy Lee Jones.
Wow.
Good,
way to go, Ed and Tim.
Correct.
Yeah, Tim, have you pulled that one out?
Well, I know The Fugitive was one of my favorite movies.
Yes.
That with him and Harrison Ford, that's just a classic. I watched that 10 times. But the Tommy Lee Jones is one of the best actors at just I don't know, his expressions and the way he says things and the key moments in movies. It just he was just a classic actor.
In the movie The Fugitive, there was that absolutely brilliant line where Harrison Ford said, "I didn't kill my wife," and he said, "I don't care."
Right.
He's just
is
doing
that when
his
they're
job.
standing in the big water spillway?
Yes. Yes. He said, "I don't care."
Right. Like you
I'm
didn't
just
expect
doing my
that
job,
answer,
man.
did you? You didn't expect that answer.
No, that's right.
All right. Thank you, David.
All right. Great, David. Great question, too.
Ready? Next caller?
Yes.
Okay, let's go to Kansas, and it's Yvonne. Yvonne, thank you for calling.
Hello.
Yes, thank you for calling.
You're welcome. You just spoke to my husband a little while ago.
Oh, wow.
Family affair today, huh?
Yes.
And you both got through. That's fantastic.
Yes, we both got through.
They want to hear cowbell. Real bad. real
Well,
bad.
there you go.
All right, I'll tell you what I'm going to do for you, Yvonne. Okay?
Okay.
You pick whatever question. Now, if it's the mystery question, obviously, and you answer it correctly, you will get a cap. But I'm saying any question you answer correctly will give you a cap. How's that?
So sweet.
All right. Well, I am. Yeah. That is true.
Even if she doesn't answer.
No. If she gets it right.
Okay.
If
you
she
just said any question. I'm just making sure.
Any question that you answer correctly. Thank you, Bert. That helps me.
Okay. I want the Andy Griffith show question.
Okay, here it is.
Wait, hang on one second. Are you a fan of Andy Griffith?
Yes, I am.
All right, then she's going to get
this
get
one.
that hat ready.
What do Andy and Barney call Aunt Bee's homemade pickles?
Kerosene.
Ooh, that's it. Yeah.
What is it?
Kerosene
cucumbers.
They were kerosene cucumbers.
Listen,
they were horrible.
Yvonne, I'm going to tell you, my wife and I, to this day, if we have something, you order something at a restaurant or whatever, and it's not quite as good as you expected, we will say, well, we might as well do what we should have done at the beginning, learn to love it. So congratulations, you have won. Make sure when we're done with you on the air, I know you got a question for us, we're going to stay on the line, and we'll put you on hold, and Cindy Roberts will get your information, and we'll send you a hat. How's that?
That's awesome. Now, you all signed my husband's hat, so I expect you to sign mine.
All right, under the bill.
Where do we sign it?
On top, yeah, anywhere on the top, on the wherever you want.
Okay, well, let me just tell you this.
Question.
Let me just tell you this about that. That might take a little longer because we'll have to get a new hat in here from where we keep our inventory, and so it may take a little bit longer for you to get it. How's that?
That's fine.
Okay.
Okay. Now, what is the relationship? This is the Andy Griffith Show question. What is the relationship between Andy and Barney?
All right. Well, this is this one.
Yeah. Okay, it's revealed early on.
First episode.
Yeah.
First
episode. But then we also find out they're classmates. Yeah, it changes later on.
I think they were cousins.
Cousins is the answer.
They were cousins. I don't know whether they just dropped that going forward, or that, in other words, that they were cousins, or they just kind of changed it without telling anything.
Yeah.
But
it was like Barney. He could sing and not sing.
Yes.
It's according to which episode you're listening to. The continuity was not always there.
Barney. Yeah, you're correct. They are cousins. It was in the first episode, and that's where they introduced Barney. But Barney did not want the town to know that they were cousins. He wanted them to know that he got the job on qualifications, not because he was a relative.
No nepotism. None whatsoever. That's the reason Barney Fife would be hired,
Yes, that's right. All right, well, Yvonne, we're going to put you on hold. Congratulations. Okay. And now you and your husband can have an AFR ball cap, and we'll get one signed, okay?
Adam, have you got her on hold over there?
All right, I put her on hold.
Okay, you did. Okay. We have time for one more, Tim?
We do.
Okay, let's go to Minnesota and talk to Christy. Christy, thank you for calling.
Hello.
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 Yes.
Hi.
Is it cold in Minnesota? I heard it was cold in some of the parts north. Is it cold up that way?
Not really too bad for us. I'm in southern Minnesota, pretty close to Iowa, so it was about 38 this morning. That's pretty decent, I guess, for us.
My son that lives in Colorado, he texted me a moment ago, said they're getting 7 to 8 inches of snow today.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, that's something.
My son lives in Colorado, too.
Okay, well, that's a great place to live. Difficult politically, but great place to live.
Yep.
Hey, Christy, do you want to ask her both?
I will do both.
Okay, great. Which question do you want to answer?
I will have to pick one because my Andy Griffith one got answered.
Oh, wow.
So I looked up a few just in case. So I'll do the land animal that doesn't sleep.
Okay.
Okay. The question is that Christy's going to answer is, what is the only land animal that doesn't sleep?
Bullfrogs?
Bullfrogs.
Bullfrogs, is that true?
Yeah.
Wow.
Man, that's the reason they croak all the time. Now I know.
They don't. The answer I have, the complete answer is they do not sleep as they remain responsive to stimuli at all times. However, they do enter a state of dormancy during hibernation, whenever hibernation is, but they're not asleep.
I will enter into a state of dormancy on Thanksgiving.
Oh, is that right?
After you eat.
And then you hibernate?
I'm pretty dormant.
Okay.
They say bears hibernate, but I understand they sleep during that.
They do sleep,
different.
though. Yeah, bullfrogs.
The other answer I thought was possibility of opossums. Because they're always going across the road at night. I don't know when they sleep.
You know what? Bullfrogs will eat anything. I mean, anything that moves in front of them. I've seen videos. I'm not proud of this, but I've seen videos on YouTube where someone owns these big bullfrogs, and they throw snakes in there, other frogs, and bullfrogs just gobble them up.
Wow.
It's kind of disturbing.
With no teeth?
Yeah, they just swallow them whole.
A bullfrog.
A bullfrog. Man, I'm telling you.
No wonder they make those noises.
Yeah.
No wonder they don't sleep, man.
Yes. They always have indigestion.
But hey, Christy, do you have bullfrogs there where you live, or toad frogs, or both?
There probably is somewhere, but not where I live. We see toads and frogs, but not really bullfrogs.
But do you hear them at night?
Not really.
In the summer? Okay. All right.
No.
Is this?
Do you have a question for us,
Yeah, hold
Christy?
Yes, I do.
Okay, we're going to take a 5-minute break. Can you hang with us?
Sure.
Okay, thank you, Christy. We'll be back to take your question in 5 minutes. We got to take a time out here for news. Tim, Ed, and Bert, and we'll be back with the last half hour of Trivia Friday in a minute.
The views and opinions expressed in this broadcast may not necessarily reflect those of the American Family Association or American Family Radio.
Faith, family, freedom. American Family Radio.
Dr. Travis was a man that was full of life.
Bert Harper of Exploring the Word.
He loved the Word of God, and it came across in the classroom. Dr. Travis put in my heart a desire to know God through His Word. And that's what we're trying to do on Exploring the Word.
Exploring the Word, weekday afternoons at 3 Central on American Family Radio. This is American Family Radio, a listener-supported ministry of the American Family Association.
American Family News, I'm Rusty Pugh. Chicago police Police investigating an incident involving a couple of Jewish college students getting attacked. Mike Tobin reporting from Chicago.
DePaul University says the victims were a couple of males, 21 and 27 years old, visibly displaying support for Israel. It's not clear what that meant, if they had T-shirts, flags, signs, or whatever. The attackers were masked. They punched and beat the DePaul students and knocked them to the ground. According to police, the attackers made anti-Semitic comments before running off. DePaul University President Robert Manuel put out a statement that the faculty is outraged. The attack occurred on campus and, quote, the university is actively working with the Chicago Police Department to investigate this incident so they can determine whether to classify it as a hate crime that targeted our students because of their Jewish identity.
President Donald Trump has promised to promote peace through strength in his approach to foreign policy. Montana Senator-elect Tim Sheehy outlines what a foreign policy agenda would look like under President Trump.
When you draw a line in the sand and you enforce that line in the sand, like President Trump did when he killed Soleimani several years ago, that was a pivotal moment for many of us who served in the Middle East, because while we were fighting in Iraq and fighting in Afghanistan and elsewhere, we were really fighting Iran's malign influence that entire time.
Republicans will take control of the Senate from Democrats and are likely to keep control of the House, despite many races not being called yet. House Majority Leader and Louisiana Congressman Steve Scalise believes his party is getting ready to start working for the American people and has been talking with President Trump about some priorities for the first 100 days in office.
Would put things like renewing the Trump tax cuts, many of those which expire that we passed in 2017. We want to renew those cuts so that families don't see a tax increase. And President Trump on the campaign trail talked about some other things he wants to include there. We can include more American energy production.
Both Democrats and evangelical Republicans thought abortion would be the issue that drove people to the polls this week. One evangelical leader says it was not. Steve Jordahl reports.
The Dobbs decision sending abortion law back to the states took the issue out of the hands of voters, at least at the federal level, so many evangelical social issues voters had to find a different cause to fight for at the ballot box. Dr. Robert Jeffers of First Baptist Dallas says they did.
Probably the number one cultural issue for Christians was not abortion this time, it was transgenderism.
He says Kamala Harris killed whatever small amount of evangelical support she may have had with her promise to use their tax dollars on gender mutilation surgery for prison inmates.
I think people saw operations being performed on children to change their sex. I think they think that's ludicrous. I think the idea of paying for inmates' surgery is ridiculous.
Jeffers says there is absolutely no biblical support for affirming transgenderism.
Jesus' message was, you were naked and I clothed you, you were hungry and I fed you. It wasn't, and you were in prison and I castrated you.
And he says the issue did drive Christians to the polls.
Maybe some pastors were not as vocal about it this time. Some Christians supporting Trump weren't as vocal about it. But I think people saw that the left had gone too far.
I'm Steve Jordahl.
The Federal Reserve Chief plans to stay on the job in the new administration. Jared Halpern has more from Washington.
Federal Reserve Chairman Jerome Powell was quick to respond to a question about resigning if asked to by President-elect Trump.
No.
Powell says a president does not have the authority to push him out before his term ends in 2026. President-elect Trump appointed Powell to lead the central bank in 2017. He was nominated to a second term by President Biden in 2022. But since leaving office, the president-elect has been critical of policy decisions by the Federal Reserve, including the timing of interest rate cuts. The Fed cut rates by a quarter point Thursday and signaled more cuts are likely. Jared Halpern, Fox News.
U.S. stocks are coasting to the close of their best week in a year with some modest moves. The S&P 500 rose 0.2% today and was on track for its biggest weekly gain since early November 2023. The Dow Jones Industrial Average was up 83 points and the Nasdaq Composite gained 0.1%. More news online at afn.net and download the AFN mobile app. I'm Rusty Pugh.
The American Family Association's mission is to inform, equip, and activate individuals to strengthen the moral foundations of our culture. We also support the church. Our goal is to be a leading organization in biblical worldview training or cultural transformation. AFA believes that all men and women, whether in private or public, should be free to exercise their faith without hindrance from the government.
Thank you for standing with the American Family Association.
This is Trivia Friday.
The number to call with your question or your answer to a question is 888-589-8840. Now, back to more Trivia Friday.
Hey, welcome back, everybody, to Trivia Friday on American Family Radio. And we've got 25 more minutes to go, roughly, here on the show. And we were talking to Christy in Minnesota before the break. Christy had answered a question, but you're going to ask us one now, right, Christy?
Yeah, it's probably easy. It's an Andy Griffith question. So my question is, what two characters on Andy Griffith do you never see or hear?
Okay, we're going to talk amongst ourselves here. Hang on a second, Christy. So first was the phone, the operator.
Yeah,
Sarah. What was
Sarah.
her name? Sarah, was it Sarah? Yeah, Sarah.
And then the worker at the truck stop restaurant, Juanita.
Oh, Juanita. Yeah, that's true.
Juanita.
Yes.
Juanita. That's
You got it.
Yes. Bert he's the man. I forgot about Juanita. So
Yeah, listen, the Andy Griffith Show. If those of you that out there that are not fans, get with it.
yes, you won't regret it.
I agree.
You will
won't
not,
regret
man.
it.
It is awesome.
All right, Christy. Thank you so much, and thank you for listening. Thank you for being on with us.
All right, let's repeat our questions, guys.
All right, I've got two questions remaining. Of the Great Lakes, what is the only one that is entirely within U.S. territory? And then second question, in 1951, Bobby Thompson hit Major League Baseball's shot heard round the world to win the pennant for his team. Which team was it, and who was the opposing team?
Okay, here's my two. What is the only planet that spins clockwise? That means all the others go counterclockwise. What is the only planet that spins clockwise? And then, which U.S. president went by the nickname Dutch?
All right, my question, let's see. I'll add one since we've got 25 minutes here to go, 20 roughly. What do bees collect and use to create honey? That's number one. And then the second question is, why do hummingbirds hum? Why? We've all wondered this,
Yes.
haven't we?
And you have the answer.
I have the answer.
Oh, wow.
Why do hummingbirds hum?
Is it a trick question or is it real? I just got to ask that.
I don't know.
Okay, I'll not go there.
Not going to disclose the
Okay.
trick or not.
I may know that then.
Well, maybe two answers.
Yeah. Okay, you ready?
Yeah.
Okay, let's go to Mississippi. Aaron, thank you for calling.
Hello.
Yes, thank you.
Hey, Aaron, where are you calling from?
I'm calling from Wiggins, Mississippi.
Okay.
Williams.
Well,
Where's
listen,
that at?
Wiggins,
Wiggins.
way down
Okay.
south.
Like Mississippi? You know what I'm talking about? Mississippi?
Mississippi.
You never seen Carol Burnett show with Tim Conway?
Yeah, sure.
Mississippi Wiggins?
Oh, okay.
Huh? You know what I'm talking about
Yeah,
now?
I do now.
Yeah. Mrs. Wiggins. And she played. Anyway, all right, Aaron, ask, answer, or both?
Answer.
Okay, which question?
The question about the president's nickname.
Okay, here it is. Which U.S. president went by the nickname Dutch?
Ronald Reagan.
Yes, way to go.
How did you get that nickname, Aaron? Do you know?
Just 1 minute. I have to give all the credit to my wife.
Okay.
So that's a smart man.
Smart man. Yes, dear.
When Ronald Reagan was born, his daddy gave it to him. He said he looked like a little fat Dutchman.
Oh,
Is that right?
It stuck.
And so his nickname was Dutch. Like even his family, parents, and everything called him Dutch.
From my understanding.
Okay,
It's
all right.
in the movie. They go over that in the Reagan movie. They talk about that.
I didn't know. He hailed from Illinois, right?
Yeah.
And went to school or grew up in Iowa a lot. And so I wondered, was he Dutch heritage? Is Reagan a Dutch name? I don't know. But anyway. All right, Aaron, that's all you didn't want to ask?
No, sir. I had no question.
Okay.
This was my first time to get through, probably in 2 years, so I'm glad I finally got on.
Well, way to go, man. That's
bless
awesome.
your heart. So you naturally think, Aaron, that if you waited 2 years, you would have a question prepared.
You could have asked, guess how long I have waited to get on.
That'd have been a good trivia question.
That'd been a good
one. Anyway.
We're also wondering when they were ever going to call Nevada and Arizona for Trump.
Yes, that's true.
I think they're still counting in
Still waiting.
Maricopa County.
Yeah.
Yeah, good point, Aaron. That's a very funny but poignant point. All right. Thank you. That's Aaron calling from Mrs. Wiggins of Mississippi.
That's right.
Mrs. Wiggins.
You remember in that character that's on the Carol Burnett show? I forgot what his name was, the Tim Conway character, but he walked so slow. He just shuffled everywhere he went. Just drove her insane.
Well, she walked kind of funny too. If you remember.
She walked kind of funny, and that drove him insane. And so anyway,
And Tim Conway, I'm sure, was cracking up whoever else was in that skit.
Yeah,
because he kept them all. He kept them laughing the whole.
Yeah. He always, in any skit, it said he always kept one secret. Even in the practice, he'd keep one of the things he was going to do and not tell them, and he'd do it. And that's usually when they would crack up laughing.
Crack up.
Yep. That's
all
it.
right, you're listening to Trivia Friday on American Family Radio. Tim, Ed, and Bert, and we go back to the phones, Bert.
Okay, let's go to Texas, and it's John. John, thank you for calling.
Thank you.
Yes.
Hey, John. Have you called in?
I'd like to answer the B question.
Have you been on before with us?
Not in a long, long time.
Long time. Okay, well, welcome back. The question is, for John, is what do bees collect and use to create honey?
Pollen.
That is incorrect.
It
okay.
is.
All right. Let me say. You know what? The answer for Tim is I don't know. I looked it up and came up with the answer that the website spit out to me.
Okay.
So I don't know.
I think I know what you're talking about.
Okay, yeah.
So John,
if it's not pollen, I know.
Yeah.
I'll just say, John, your answer was pollen. True? Oh, is that what you said?
Yes.
Okay. The answer I have is nectar.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So which is correct? Are they the same?
I think here's what I think, and none of us are scientists here. Okay, I think the bees are going to collect nectar, but they get pollen on them, so that when they go from flower to flower, they are cross-pollinating. I think they're not.
So there could be two answers to that question.
Well, they're not after the pollen; they're after the nectar to make the honey. The pollen gets on them, and then when they go from flower to flower, that's how the pollination happens.
That is a sermon right there.
It is.
Could be.
The way you just described that.
Yeah.
Huh?
Bees, honeybee, they're, of all of God's creations, far as what they do and how they operate is probably the greatest,
it's
scientific
deal.
Yes.
I would say them closely rivaled by like the bullfrog. You know what I'm saying? If you look at the total ecosystem.
Totally, man.
Ecosystem.
Because those bees that
they get near a bullfrog, they're going down.
Those bees that do those little dances to let other bees know where the flowers are, and who have all those kinds of things going on. You're saying second to that in intelligence is a big fat bullfrog that just sits there and waits for something to walk in front of it.
I wonder which begs the question, does a bullfrog ever, you said it eat anything?
Oh, yeah.
I wonder if it ever snaps up something and goes,
uh-oh.
That was a mistake. Like a hornet?
I've seen them eat hornets. I've seen them eat scorpions. I've seen them eat other frogs. I've seen them eat
Not
mice.
very smart, are they? Animals.
I'm just saying,
Wow.
like somebody who can eat spicy food doesn't bother them.
Yeah.
Those bullfrogs are just incredible.
So when you eat frog legs, there's no telling what you're getting, man.
I would just think the sting on the tongue of a hornet that the bullfrog gathers would be enough to deter you.
I'm going to destroy your weekend, Tim.
All right.
When you go home this weekend,
look up
YouTube. Go to YouTube and look up bullfrogs eating. And you will
see what you're talking about?
Yeah, and you will 2 hours later you'll say, I wish I'd never listened to Ed.
Where can I get those 2 hours back, right? All right. Where were we? Anyway, John, your question for us. Go ahead.
I don't have one.
Okay, man.
Sorry.
Oh, no, it's all right, John.
That's
you're,
all right.
You're still a good person, brother. We believe in you.
Hey, the mystery question is still out there, guys.
That's right, folks.
Man.
All right, what do bees collect and use to make honey? The correct answer is nectar.
Nectar.
I got
right?
you.
Okay.
All right, thank you, John. God bless you,
All
brother.
right, so the only question I have left is, why do hummingbirds hum? Why do hummingbirds hum? What do you got left, Ed?
I have, of the Great Lakes, what is the only one that is entirely within U.S. territory. And in 1951, Bobby Thompson hit Major League Baseball's shot heard round the world to win the pennant for his team. Which team was it, and who was the opposing team? Those are the only two questions I have
And the
left.
question I have left is, what is the only planet that spins clockwise? What is the only planet that spins clockwise?
And why? There's always one in the group.
Always
You know what I'm saying?
one.
That's
There's
right.
one.
Good.
Everyone's
right.
going in the same direction except, hey, what's up with you?
Right, Planet X.
Yes.
All right, you're listening to. By the way, if you want to listen to past Trivia Friday shows, we have a whole bunch of them in our podcast section on the website. So if you just go to afr.net, click on podcast, you will see the Trivia Friday banner, and you can go there and listen to shows from the last couple of years, I think.
Keep
probably.
on getting education.
Yeah,
man,
yeah,
that's
yeah.
good.
Yeah, a lot of people told me not a lot of people, but some people told me they like to do that when they travel, so that they can listen to.
It kills time.
Yeah.
Okay, and driving can be a little bit boring.
Yeah.
But you listen to that, you have fun, you learn things.
Yeah.
Laughter. It's
Right.
interesting.
You're a
Better than
person.
watching bullfrogs.
Yes, you're a better person for
Absolutely.
it, right?
Yep.
All right, back to the phones, Ed.
Okay, Eric
Or,
in Kansas.
excuse me.
Eric, thank you for calling.
Hey, I made it on finally.
Yeah, thanks for waiting. Do you have a question?
Have you ever been on before, Eric?
I've never been on. I've been trying since, I think since you opened your radio station in Topeka, Kansas, K-Buzz.
Wow.
Like 20 years? 25 years ago.
Yeah,
You've
I've
been trying to
listening
get
a long
on since
time.
Way
then?
to go, man.
Well, we haven't had Trivia Friday.
I
that
haven't
long.
been trying the trivia to get
Yeah.
on all that time, but I did want to say I'm a scholar from your night school. You rerun this at night.
Oh, yeah.
And I enjoy it between
Yeah.
1 and 2 in the morning.
Hey, well,
Night school.
all right,
I like that.
Tonight you can hear yourself then, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's right.
Hey,
So,
I'm going to take the one with Tim's question about the hummingbird.
all right,
I don't
Eric,
really
here's
have
the
a
question. Here's
you
the
guys.
question, Eric, for you to answer, for all the listening audience to hear you say and answer the question correctly. The question is, why do hummingbirds hum, Eric?
Well, the biggest answer, best known answer is because they don't know the words.
That's
The
right.
physical answer is the wings bat so fast that they hum when they bat their wings. So
Oh,
In case-
wow.
in
So we
case
got the
people
real
miss-
answer.
In case people missed the punchline there. Why do hummingbirds hum? Because they don't know the words. Bada boom. Bada boom. You think I need to give that one to JJ for some new material? Or
I
not?
think JJ's probably used that one many
before?
times.
Anyway, but the real reason is, like Eric says, though.
Yeah.
I did come up with a question for you. Can you name the notes on the scale in music?
Oh, I thought
Well, the first
the
thing I was going to
notes-
say was how many are there? How many notes
Yeah,
are in
no,
a scale?
okay, so there's pick up milk and bread. I saw that note
notes
this
on the
morning.
scale.
Uh, no.
I thought it was like referring to like 178 pounds or something like that.
On the
That's a
scale,
It's a
yeah.
scale I know of.
Yeah.
You're talking about what? So the
I
question,
am not musical at all.
That,
The
so
musical
you're talking about
scale.
what notes are on the musical scale?
Yeah,
well,
that's it.
The first answer, how many notes are there in a octave? Which the word octave ought to give you the answer.
So 8?
Okay.
That's good. That's
Everybody
good, Ed.
says 8, but if you name them, you have to use do twice, right? Do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti. That's
do.
only 7.
Do. Okay, so
How about
do, a deer, a female deer. Ray, a drop of golden sun.
Me, a name I call myself.
Yeah, what,
It's so far.
I prefer the Julie Andrews version there.
Well, I don't
She
blame
did
you.
not hum it. She sang it. She
Yeah.
knew the words.
You sang it. So octave, is 8, and you guys.
But he's saying it's actually 7 different notes, but you repeat do twice. Is that what you're saying? Eric?
Yeah. So how do they get 8 at an octave? Unless an octave overruns the next octave, it just I'm mathematical and it just doesn't make sense.
Listen, if it wasn't for Julie Andrews, I wouldn't have known what little I know.
about the deer. The
yes,
doe and the deer.
Yeah, all that.
The ray and the sun.
That's just from. Was that the Sound of Music?
Sound of Music. Yes,
that's
it was.
the only reason I know do re mi fa sol la ti do. So,
well, at what point in the movie are they singing that?
They're going up the steps. She's taking them on field trips, and she takes them on this. And I know there are a bunch of steps, and they go up and down.
That's when they.
I haven't seen that probably since I was a kid.
That was the day. That's the days of the musical.
Yeah.
Oh man. Yeah.
All right.
All right. So Eric. What's the answer?
I don't know because you only have 7 names for the 8 notes, so that's the question. I thought maybe you guys knew everything. I mean,
this is going to bother me all weekend, Eric.
Yeah,
I will not be able to watch one video of a bullfrog eating anything until I find the answer to this.
They have only one note.
Yes.
Well, I'm sure you guys will find it out because heretofore you've never had a stop.
Yes, Eric.
That
you're
is
right.
that is a man who has been listening.
Heretofore. Yeah, we need to send Eric a hat for using heretofore.
Okay.
That was a genuine use of heretofore.
Yes, it was.
It wasn't forced.
It wasn't
Eric
forced.
gets a hat.
Yeah. So Eric gets a hat.
So stay on line, Eric.
So we're going to put you on hold, Eric.
First time on, and I get a hat.
Yeah.
That's cool.
There you go. All right,
Thank
brother.
you, Eric.
Have a great
Take care,
weekend.
my friend. That's Eric in Kansas.
He's been listening a long time trying to get on.
Yes, he has. Who's next, Bert?
Okay, it's Jimmy in Virginia. Jimmy, thank you for calling.
Jimmy, you there?
He got your radio on, Jimmy. Can you hear me?
Nope. Hello.
Yeah, Jimmy. Be sure and turn your radio down.
Yeah, turn your radio down. It'll be confusing otherwise.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you. Can you turn your radio down, Jimmy?
Okay, because I can't hear you on the phone.
Oh, you can't hear us on the phone.
Oh, wow.
Why not?
Yeah, it's down.
Yeah, you need to
But
pay
I
your
can't hear you over the phone.
Well, you need to pay your phone bill, Jimmy.
Oh man.
Good night,
Jimmy.
man.
Don't listen to him, Jimmy.
They cut you off, dude. You don't pay
I
them.
paid my phone bill.
Okay.
Hello.
Hello, we're here, Jimmy.
All right, Jimmy, you want to ask, answer, or do both?
Both. What's this? This is
Jimmy.
I want to do both.
Okay.
All right, which one you want to answer?
I like to do both. I want to answer the one about the planet.
Okay,
All
here
right.
is
Planet.
that. My last question, man. I've done good. What is the only planet that spins clockwise?
That would be Venus.
Woo! Yes. Oh,
It's going to take you 2 minutes to hear that.
it's going to keep on ringing. It's not over with yet, Tim.
We're going to be waiting a while
Yeah,
for the elation.
there, it's still going.
Here we go. Ready?
Okay, Jimmy. I'm not sure when you'll hear this, but you just won the you answered the mystery question. So we will. You want a hat? All right.
This is weird.
This is okay.
Yes.
All right.
Stay on line, Jimmy.
Yeah, Jimmy. Do you have a question?
I'm a little behind you, but my question is to you is who?
Go ahead. Ask your question, Jimmy.
What was the first basketball player in the professional basketball to crash a backboard?
Daryl Dawkins.
Tim says Daryl Dawkins. I'm going with Tim.
I will as well.
Tim says Daryl Dawkins. I'm going with. What do you say?
Chuck Connors, back before the NBA was the NBA.
Oh, Chuck Connors. I think I think we've heard this
It's not
before.
fair if you use a rifle.
All right. What
Okay.
happened? Did we lost Jimmy? Okay. Oh, that's terrible. We lost.
We have no idea.
Listen, Chuck Connors, I don't know, was he in the NBA? Or?
He was. He played for the Celtics.
Okay, well, I didn't know he broke I just remember in like 1980 or so, Darryl Dawkins was a center for the Philadelphia
76ers,
and he was so powerful.
Chocolate Thunder.
That's it. I
shattered a
remember
backboard.
that.
You remember that?
I do. Yep.
So anyway.
All right, Jimmy, if you are still listening, I hope you are. We lost you. Your phone line dropped. If you will email us at comments@afa. Is it comments at AFA? Comments at AFR.net?
Yeah. Comments at AFR.net.
Comments at AFR.net. If you will email us at comments@afr.net and address it to me, Ed, we will get in contact with you and get you a hat. So, all right, we got one call left.
Okay, Sloan in Texas. Sloan, thank you for calling.
Good morning. How's everybody?
Doing great. Now, we haven't got a lot of questions left, so you're going to have to answer one of them? Are you going to try?
Well, no, I was calling about the octave thing.
Oh,
okay.
Tell us.
Okay, the octave, of course, octave is associated with the number 8, but the octave in music is if you start with the C, the octave is a C, so that makes the 8th note.
Oh, okay.
So if you start with, of course, there's A, B, C, D, E, F, G, that's 7 notes, but then you got to go to the A. From A to A is an octave. That makes the 8th note.
See, this is where let me tell you, when I grew up, A, B, C, D, E, F were letters. So I don't know what you guys do in Texas.
Well, in music, that's what we do.
Times have changed, Tim.
You're from.
Times
maybe it's related
changed.
to the metric system changeover. I don't know. We're going to borrow letters. Yeah. So.
Music is phonics, so you don't necessarily.
It's also universal.
Yeah, that has to be. Yeah.
It's like love.
Hey,
music is universal.
So, Sloan, we're almost out of time. Did you have a question for us, or?
No, sir, I didn't. I just wanted to clear up the octave thing.
Well, thank you for that. This is Learning University after all, so thank you, Sloan.
And that means
God
we won't
bless
have
you.
to do the research.
Yes,
Man, that's
it's
right.
even better.
That's
because
right.
I would have gotten confused.
Yeah,
anyway,
I wouldn't even know what to ask.
All right, I had 2 questions remaining, guys, so we got to give the answers to our questions. Of the Great Lakes, what is the only one that is entirely within U.S. territory?
Michigan.
Lake Michigan. That's correct.
Because it's bordered by Michigan and Wisconsin, Illinois, and what? Indiana?
Yeah, it dips down right there at the northern part of Indiana, barely.
Maybe Pennsylvania, too. I don't know.
All right, Tim, the Bobby Thompson home run. What 2 teams?
What's it? Pittsburgh Pirates and the New York Yankees?
Giants and the Yankees.
Giants.
Dodgers.
Giants. New York Giants
Yeah.
and the Brooklyn Dodgers.
That's it.
I missed that. Sport.
Anybody else have any other questions?
All of
left?
mine were answered.
Mine, too.
Man, my questions, I had 6 questions answered today.
Yeah.
Way to realize how much work I did?
You won. I didn't have that many.
I don't want questions answered.
All right. Thank you for listening to AFR. Have a great weekend, everybody. See you back here on Monday.